components of our JCC's curriculum. So we have the Sheva lenses, which are Jewish values. We have Ohio Early Learning and Development Standards, ELDS, which if you're a parent, it might be interesting for you to go out and research a little bit. State of Ohio actually adopted them a few years back, and they also use those in the elementary school as well. So there's birth through pre-K, as well as kindergarten through third grade. So these standards are very important when we're preparing the children for kindergarten. And then we do that, as we said, through creative curriculum, which is intentional play-based approach. So the Sheva lenses are values, and they're values that we have in our program that we use with the children every day that we feel are very universal. And there are 7 values that we use at this time with our children at the J. They are Masa, which is journey, which stands for reflection, return, and renewal. Selam Elohim, which is divine image, which is dignity and potential of the children. We have a Brit, or covenant, which is belonging and commitment. And many of these kind of overlap with what you guys had said at the elementary school level. Kedusha, which is holiness, intentional and being present. Hitarut is awakening, amazement, and gratitude. Drash is interpretation. That means inquiry, dialogue, and transmission. And then we have Tikkun Olam, which everybody's very familiar with, which is repairing the world. So we use these lenses to guide our children and staff daily as we prepare them for kindergarten and beyond. Erica's going to go through a little bit, just to give you a little bit of an idea. Many of it's going to overlap with what you heard tonight from the kindergarten teachers about Ohio's Early Learning and Development Standards that we use as well.
So just like Nikki said, we use the Ohio Early Learning and Development Standards as a framework for our instruction, our assessments, all of that. They describe key concepts and skills that young children develop during birth through age 5. Purpose is to support the development and well-being of our young children and foster their learning. The standards promote the understanding of early learning and guide the design and implementation of curriculum, assessment, and instructional practices with young children. The first domain is social and emotional development. This standard involves behaviors that reflect children's emotional growth and their growing ability to successfully navigate their social world through interactions with teachers and peers. Some examples of this domain are regulating attention, emotions, and behavior, and establishing positive relationships with familiar peers and adults. And in these pictures, you can see children are working together toward the common goal of helping their friend up the slide, and they're developing strong peer relationships. The next domain is physical well-being and motor development. This domain addresses motor skills and health practices that are essential for children's overall development. Examples are the ability to use small and large muscle movements to touch, grasp, manipulate objects in physical activity. Also included are the development of health practices that become part of their daily routine, such as self-help skills and nutrition. In the pictures, you can see the children are using fine motor skills to do an art project, and they're also using gross motor skills when they're going on a nature walk. And then the next domain is approaches toward learning. This domain centers on the foundational behaviors, dispositions, and attitudes that children bring to social interactions and learning experiences. It includes children's initiative and curiosity, and their motivation to participate in new and varied experiences and challenges. These behaviors are fundamental to children's ability to set, plan, and achieve goals. Some examples of this domain, there you go, are engagement, attention, persistence, creativity, innovative thinking, and flexibility. And in these pictures, these children are using creativity and innovative thinking to manipulate the art activities. The next domain is language and literacy. This reflects the knowledge and skills fundamental to children's learning of language, reading, and writing. Competencies in this area pertain to a growing ability to communicate effectively with adults and peers, and to express themselves through language and use growing vocabularies and increasing sophisticated language structures. Some examples of this domain are emerging concepts of print, which means that print carries meaning and words are made up of letters of sounds, things like that. Also, they're developing comprehension of age-appropriate text, phonological awareness, and letter recognition. In these pictures, this child is communicating through writing, and the other children are developing their early learning reading skills. The last domain is cognitive and general knowledge, and then there are subdomains of mathematics, social studies, and science. This domain refers to underlying cognitive mechanisms, skills, and processes that support learning and reasoning. In the math subdomain, the children are developing understanding of number, quantity, number relationships, and knowledge of attributes of objects such as size and shape. In social studies, it sets the foundation for learning about concepts of social science and the awareness of their social identity, as well as an appreciation of rights and responsibilities within a group. In science, they're focusing on children's curiosity to explore and learn about the environment. Some examples of this domain are exploration and discovery, problem solving, cause and effect, inquiry skills, ability to observe, investigate, and communicate about the natural environment. In these pictures, you can see children manipulating materials that foster curiosity and problem solving, and the children, I have the wrong thing. So yeah, they're being innovative and they're being creative. So in conclusion, we use these early learning and developmental standards that focus on all developmental areas, and they're essential to fostering the love of learning in all of our children and a strong foundation for developmentally appropriate skills that will ensure a successful academic future.
So as we said, we do that through our creative curriculum, and we also have a way of tracking our children's learning. So this year, many of you, it was our first year using this across the board at all 3 sites. We have a program called Hi Mama as a communication tool, but it's also used as an assessment tool, documentation tool, and it's used to journals that we're using in the classroom. And for the teachers, it's also aligning their lesson plans with the state of Ohio's early learning domain or early learning development standards that we have to align them with. That all combined, when we're doing that, when the teachers are working on their lesson plans, they're actually taking the domain that they need to be aligning it with, so that when they're doing their lesson plans, they're intentional. It does feel like play-based, but it's really, there's an intentionality to the play-based. By using the Pearson assessment, we are actually aligning all of our assessments with the system was set up that it aligns with the state of Ohio's content standards, and so it will give us the ability to know that the children are actually ready for kindergarten, because it is what was the word I want to use? It's aligned with the system, but it's also proven. So it is definitely for that. And then we use ages and stages questionnaire, as well as ages and stages, the social and emotional. And that gives us the ability to look for the red flags that Nikki was mentioning, that when the children do have an area that there is a delay in, that maybe we can be the first ones. They always say, if you can catch it early, maybe you can kind of work towards being able to help the children overcome that and to be able to be ready for kindergarten at the right time.
One of the great things I wanted to add about the Hi Mama is that we kind of went into it thinking it was going to be just a communication tool, but it's really been a great way for teachers to, every time they take a photo, they're tagging a skill. So for you, it looks like they're, sending you a picture of them building with blocks, but really they're tagging what skill that is, and that's being intentional, and then that's building a portfolio and building the assessments.
And all of those photos that Erica was showing you when she was going through the different domains were actually photos that were being used, that they've been taking them to the domains when they're doing that in the classrooms. In addition to that, we also have enrichment features. We have foreign language, we have Judaics, we have Hebrews, we have Judaics, we have movement, we have phys ed, we have swimming, music, field trips, Shabbat assembly. On Mondays, I don't know how many of you have heard that the children are doing Havdalah with their classrooms. Actually, they get together as a whole group. And we just recently added yoga to the pre-K program. In addition to that, we have an amazing team of teachers. Experience, Erica was counting it the other day, with over 75 years.
Combined years.
Yeah, of experience with our early childhood teachers that are in the pre-K team. If you know, a couple of years ago, we moved actually upstairs to the wing, the pre-K wing upstairs, which we love because it's given the children the independence. there's a bathroom out in the hallway. They're now not just running into the bathroom every 2 seconds, and so they have to think before they go to the restroom. Their coats are outside in the hallway, so they have to go out and get their items when they need things and go back and forth. So we're trying to build that independence with the children as well. Our teachers, their experience and all their training, we have in-services twice a year that are really intentional based. Our last one was actually based on the Jewish values, but we bring in Applebaum Training Institute. We bring in special people from NACI that have been speakers that all the teachers come back and say, oh my gosh, you guys gotta bring them in, and they'll teach them things about being intentional in art and the different ways to handle a biter in a classroom, or ways to deal with different situations that they need somebody that's an outsider to be able to share that with them. We also have a group of teachers that really work together as a team, and we have a lot of cohort planning that's going on. And I believe our pre-K group, they're all sitting back in the corner over there, do an amazing job of working together. This past Monday, they just had a Tu B'Shvat Seder together as a group down in the Zussman. And if you saw what they did, it was just the planning that went into it and how intentional it was just amazing for the children, and I think for the staff as well. I think it was a great way to be able to share the holiday. And then we also, enrollment's coming up. It starts on Monday, February 17th through the 28th for our currently enrolled families. Taryn will have the sheets all ready for you, so you'll just be able to kind of come in, sign up, change things as you need to. Class selection, we do have that, we have 3 classrooms upstairs in our pre-K program, and when we're doing class selection, there are a lot of criteria that are put into that when we're doing it. So could be social relationships. We will send out a form to our families to ask them a parent feedback. Could be if you're half day, full day, if you're part week, we might have to balance you with somebody else when we're placing you. Gender, we have to make sure we don't have too many boys and girls in the classroom. Sometimes it's chronological age, depending on the group. We try to be the same as an elementary school, August 1st to August 1st if it's that school system. The developmental abilities also play a role in it, and we also we'll also think about some of your relationships if you've been at the program for a while with teachers, and if you have a particular teacher that you've formed a relationship, and we know that is the correct group for you to be in. So a lot of different criteria play into how we place the children. We're also going to do this year something new. We're going to do a taste of pre-K later in the late spring. That'll be for our 3-year-olds to go upstairs, and they're going to visit in the pre-K classroom, so they'll get to see them, and they'll get kind of mingle amongst the 3 rooms and get a little taste of it to be able to have a feel for what it's like. Then we brought in some parents. We wanted some parents' perspective to also let you know a little bit about, what their experience was in pre-K and the JCC. So we have Brittany Silverman, Sherry Werman, and Katie Ruttenberg. And they're all parents. We have, 2 kindergartners, and then we also have a pre-K family, but we also have, we have another pre-K family. So we kind of gave them a list of questions, and we said to them, take this list and see if you can work with this to answer, to give us your own insight onto how your pre-K year was, or how kindergarten's been for you this year. So, does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, thanks, Brittany.
So my son is Leon Silverman, and he did pre-K last year, obviously. He's at Montrose Elementary in Bexley this year, and he's excelling. He is doing so well. So, to tell you a little background on my son, he was born in 28 weeks, so very early. We didn't know quite developmentally what we were going to get into. He's also a June birthday, so when I'm gearing for kindergarten, I'm like, is he developmentally ready? He's a June birthday, so is he mature for a boy? So a lot of things going on through my head. And he is developmentally like every other 5-year-old getting ready for school. And he's very mature for his age as well. And I think that the JCC helped with all that. They allow them the independence and the confidence. And, they do touch on the academics. So he knew enough that kindergarten was exciting for him. He could go to kindergarten and, the kindergarten teachers are taking kids that have never been in preschool to kids that are already reading, and they have to go back through all of those lessons again to make sure everyone is on the same page. So I think, there are things that he already knew, and so he was confident. I know how to hold a pencil, I know how to, read a couple words, I know my alphabet. But then there were things that he didn't know, and so he would come home and, right now he's writing a personal narrative in kindergarten. Like, what? And so that's just exciting for him. Every day is exciting. And, just forming the relationships with his friends here. A couple of his friends, we are blessed here, and we have lunch provided for us. They don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about packing lunch. They don't have to worry about getting in a lunch line. And at Montrose, they have lunch with another grade. So of course, as a parent, that makes me so nervous that they are going to be with big kids, and how is he going to remember a student number? Does he even know what he likes? All these things cross my mind. But he was able to go with friends and take friends to lunch line, and they did it as a group because he already knew them, and he had the confidence to say, "Hey, it's pizza day. Let's go get pizza." And it's funny because all the kindergartners at one point were all buying fruit roll-ups. So the kindergarten teacher said, "Hey, if you don't know your kindergartners are buying fruit roll-ups, they are." So it was kind of, it's amazing to see the growth, and it all started here, and just their friendships and their play, and they were able to have that emotional experience that they could say, "Hey, I don't like what you did today," or, "Hey, you're my best friend. Let's go invite another best friend." And so all of those were meaningful experiences that I think my son got out of this. So.
Thank you.
Ken along.
Who's next?
Well, I'm still in pre-K.
Yeah, you're right, sure. So, as we were listening to the panel, my daughter Lexi Rotenberg is in kindergarten at Columbus Jewish Day School, and as we were listening to what makes a kid prepared for kindergarten, I remember last year thinking like, oh my God, like she's going to kindergarten, but hearing those things really, and as I thought about Lexi's pre-K experience, it really does overlap with the experience that Lexi got here at the JCC in pre-K. One of the big things in her room, I call in her pre-K room, was they didn't call it this, but in my mind it's big kid expectations. So yes, you're in preschool, but now you're going to be in kindergarten next year. So how do you resolve conflict with others? What are classroom routines? And I think a big thing was listening in class and sitting, like we talked about, sitting for 10 minutes. Those really prepared her for kindergarten. It wasn't a shock to her that she needed to sit and listen, respect others, and she's continuing to grow that in kindergarten. So it was a seamless transition into kindergarten because she's growing those things there as well. And then academics as well. They worked on sight words. I remember seeing how she wrote her name in the beginning of the year versus how she wrote it at the end of the year in pre-K, and it was so different. She really had grown in writing and recognizing words. And Brittany, what you said too is in confidence in that. So confidence in learning in pre-K and taking what she learned into kindergarten.
Okay, I can talk about pre-K. So I had a little bit of a unique situation where my son Jacob has that June birthday, but we decided to do another year of pre-K. So we've had 2 years of pre-K, which I am going to be sad again when we do. We had practice graduation last year, and we'll do it again. I'm sure I'll cry for the second time. But I think that Jay has really grown him into a confident and capable person through, those relationships, the community in the classroom, and then the ability he's learning to read, he's learning to write, and he's just so motivated to learn more. And I just think they really take the whole child into consideration when they step into that door every day. And I feel like those teachers love our children as much as we love them, and I trust them with them every day. And I echo everything you guys have said, but I think that he is very prepared to step into kindergarten, and I feel like that is because of all the things that he's learned in the classrooms here, starting
Mhm.
in the infant room. So, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell a short story, and I'm gonna try to be as professional as possible. Bexley is such an amazing community because there are so many different programs that kids can go to get, prepared for kindergarten. We got BUMP, you got Jeffrey Manor, so many, right? So when I was teaching kindergarten at Montrose, and we'd look at class lists and we'd place our kids, and they'd come into the classroom, and we'd watch, we kid watch for the first, seems like forever, the first few months. And I was noticing a pattern, and again, all the programs in Bexley are wonderful. But I was like, well, this one has great stamina when we're in circle time, and oh my glory, look at the fine motor, and they can use scissors. And what was happening is we were kind of making connections of who was coming from the J. And so even before I had my son, I was like, oh wow, they are on it. And so I had so I'm putting my parent hat on, I had no qualms about it, that we were very fortunate that we could put our son, who is now a 4-year-old, we could have him enroll at the J, and to this day, that theory of the kids that graduate from the J, they're ready, they're so ready. And I feel so fortunate that, we're all here in seats right now, and I'm seeing it happen. I'm seeing my own son just love to go to school every day. He loves his friends, he loves his teachers. He is really starting to become aware of print and patterns in print and rhyming, and he can write his name. And so now it's all coming full circle, and it's making sense that what I saw from the kindergartners I had in my classroom, I'm now seeing from my son, and it just, very pro JCC. So anyways, yeah.
Thank you. I think we're gonna make it easy.
Sorry, before you continue,
you got more?
we talked about like prep and academics, and the thing that's been the most special for me at the JCC is that it feels like a family. And Sherry mentioned like how the teachers love the kids, like from the administration to the teachers. It's like you walk in and it takes you, people who know me, it takes me like 30 minutes to get out of the JCC. Nothing surprising there. Because you just see so many people, but your kids feel like they're part of a family, and it's so unique. And so in just that, it's just so special to be able to have sent Lexi there, and that my son Aaron's growing up here too. So yes.
And that is like the best part of working at the JCC and also being a part of the community. I have seen, we see our families coming back. We see our preschoolers that were our preschoolers when Annalyn and I were teachers way back when, coming back with their children because they want that same experience, which is amazing. But we also know that that relationship that they're building in preschool, we are seeing that continue when they're like 10, 11, 15. There was a group at our Northside facility that actually went to college together. And so to see those relationships that started not only with their families, with their parents, but also with the children is amazing. So thank you guys all. What I'd like to do really quick, because I really wanted to let you go upstairs and visit our pre-K classrooms, is I want to just open it up, just while you're here, everyone's sitting, just open it up for some questions. Does anyone have anything? Otherwise, we are going to follow the kindergarten or pre-K teachers upstairs to the classrooms to let you, they can share with you a little bit about their rooms and what they do during the day. Questions? You can also come and ask them if you do have any questions. I think everyone did a wonderful job. I want to thank all of you for coming. It was really special, and it really meant a lot to all of us. Thank you. So our pre-K teachers, we have Josh. Stand up, Josh. Jenny, they're in the Flamingo room. We have Allison and Carolyn, they're